Captain Jiwoo Kim stood on the bridge of the morning calm, looking at the massive space station through the main viewport. The station was huge, like a giant crystal spinning slowly in space. Two suns shone behind it, making it glow with rainbow colors. This was the heart of the Andromeda Alliance, home to 7 alien species that ruled this part of space. And humans were the newcomers. "Are you nervous, Captain?" asked Commander Daehyun Park, standing next to him. Jiwoo took a deep breath. "A little. This is a big day for Earth," Daehyun nodded. "First official contact with the Alliance. History in the making." The morning calm was Earth's best diplomatic vessel. It looked nice, with clean white lines and the blue Earth flag painted on its sides. But it wasn't very big or powerful compared to the alien ships around them. That was on purpose. Earth didn't want to seem threatening, or at least that's what the Alliance was meant to think. "Captain, we're getting a message," said Lieutenant Jinwoo Choi from his station. "They're giving us docking instructions." "Thank you, Lieutenant." "Ensign Kang, take us in, nice and slow." Ensign Subin Kang, the youngest crew member, nodded. "Yes, Captain." His hands moved over the controls, guiding their ship toward the docking bay. Dr. Min-ji Yoon walked onto the bridge, her dark hair tied back neatly. As the ship's xenobiologist and cultural expert, she had spent months studying everything they knew about the Alliance species. "Ready for the meeting?" Jiwoo asked her. Minji's face was serious. "As ready as I'll ever be. But Captain, remember what we discussed. The messages they've sent so far have been condescending." "I know," said Jiwoo. "They think we're just primitive humans who discovered space travel yesterday." Daehyun crossed his arms. "Let them think that. Pride comes before a fall." The morning calm slid smoothly into the docking bay. Through the windows they could see various alien ships, sleek vessels with strange designs unlike anything built on Earth. Several small creatures in uniforms moved around the bay, some with too many limbs, others floating rather than walking. "Docking complete, Captain," said Subin. "Good work." Jiwoo straightened his dark blue uniform. "Daehyun, Minji, Jinwoo, you're with me. Subin, stay with the ship and keep communications open." The 4 officers walked to the airlock. Before opening it, Jiwoo looked at each of them. "Remember, we represent all of humanity today. Let's make Earth proud." The airlock hissed open, revealing a long corridor made of some shiny material that wasn't quite metal. At the end stood 3 aliens waiting for them. The one in the middle stepped forward. It was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Its face had 4 small eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and it had no visible nose, just a small slit for a mouth. It wore elaborate robes with symbols that probably showed its rank. "I am Ambassador Velix of the Talari," it said in perfect English. "I speak for the Andromeda Alliance in this preliminary meeting." The way it said preliminary made it clear that this wasn't considered very important. "Thank you for welcoming us," said Jiwoo with a slight bow.
"I am Captain Jiwoo Kim of Earth's diplomatic vessel Morning Calm. This is my second in command."
Commander Daehyun Park, our xenobiologist Dr. Min-ji Yoon, and communications specialist Lieutenant Jinwoo Choi. Velix barely looked at them. "Follow me to the meeting chamber. The council has granted you a brief audience." As they walked, Minji observed the station. Everything was advanced technology. Doors that opened by themselves, lights that floated in the air with no visible source, and aliens of different shapes and colors moving about their business. Some looked at the humans with curiosity, others with what seemed like amusement. "Your station is impressive," said Daehyun, trying to be friendly. "This?" Velix sounded surprised. "This is merely an outpost. Our central worlds have truly impressive structures. But I suppose to your species, even this must seem advanced." Jinwoo frowned slightly but said nothing. They entered a large room with a round table. 6 aliens sat there, each different from the others. Velix took the 7th seat, leaving the humans to stand. "The human delegation from Earth," announced Velix without enthusiasm. One of the aliens, a round creature covered in what looked like golden fur, spoke in a deep voice. "So these are humans, smaller than I expected." Another, with green scales and long fingers, added, "Their ship is quite primitive. Did you see their propulsion system? Barely better than chemical rockets." Jiwoo kept his face neutral, though he felt his cheeks getting warm. "The morning calm serves our needs for diplomatic missions." Yes, said Velix, waving a long-fingered hand dismissively. "Let us proceed." Earth wishes to establish relations with the Andromeda Alliance. We have reviewed your initial communications and biological data. The golden-furred alien spoke again. Your species has only recently developed faster than light travel, correct? Yes, said Jiwoo. We achieved our first successful FTL jump 5 years ago. Impressive, said the alien, but its tone suggested the opposite. It only took the Jirani 3,000 years to go from discovering electricity to developing FTL travel. You've done it in what, 300? 250, actually, said Minji politely. The aliens exchanged looks that seemed meaningful. You advance quickly, said the scaled green alien. Perhaps too quickly. This often leads to instability. Jiwoo stepped forward. We've come to formally request membership in the Andromeda Alliance. Earth is ready to join the interstellar community. There was a moment of silence, then several of the aliens made strange sounds. It took the humans a moment to realize they were laughing. Felix's mouth slit curved slightly upward. Captain Kim, surely you jest. Full membership? Your species is barely spacefaring. We have colonies on Mars and several large space stations, said Daehyun. We've mapped our entire solar system and begun mining operations in the asteroid belt. How charming, said the golden-furred alien. My children play with more advanced technology than your mining operations. Minji leaned close to Jiwoo and whispered, They're not taking us seriously at all. This isn't a diplomatic meeting. They're entertaining themselves. Jiwoo nodded slightly, then addressed the council again. What would you suggest instead of full membership? Felix seemed pleased by the question. The Alliance could offer Earth Protectorate status. We would provide guidance, technology sharing, under supervision, of course, and protection from any less friendly species you might encounter. Protectorate, repeated Jiwoo. And what would Earth provide in return? Access to your solar system's resources, said the green alien quickly. Cultural exchange. Perhaps some limited human participation in Alliance projects where suitable. Daehyun's face hardened. You mean you take our resources and we get your protection? Commander, warned Jiwoo, though he felt the same anger. Felix's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Your understanding of interstellar politics is limited, Commander. The galaxy is dangerous. Many species would simply take what they wanted from a young race like yours. We offer partnership. It doesn't sound like partnership, said Jinwoo, speaking for the first time. It sounds like colonization. The room grew quiet. The aliens stared at the humans with their various eyes, some blinking, others unmoving. You misunderstand, said Velix finally. This is how all species join the Alliance. In time, as you mature, your status would change. How much time? Asked Jiwoo. Velix looked at the other council members, then back to Jiwoo. For most species, a few thousand years is typical. Minji couldn't hide her shock. 1,000? Your species is very young, said the golden alien. You have much to learn before you can be trusted as equals. Jiwoo kept his voice steady. We formally request equal membership status in the Alliance. Earth is prepared to contribute resources, knowledge, and defensive capabilities in return for equal standing. The laughter this time was louder, with some aliens making strange hooting or clicking sounds. Perhaps in a few thousand years, said Velix, not bothering to hide his amusement. Until then, you'll benefit from our guidance. We'll prepare the Protectorate Agreement for your review. You may take it back to your leaders on Earth. We'll need to discuss this among ourselves, said Jiwoo stiffly. Of course, said Velix. Take all the time you need. The Alliance has existed for 50,000 years. We are patient. As they were escorted back to their ship, the humans remained silent until they were safely inside the morning calm with the doors sealed. That was humiliating, said Daehyun, his face flushed with anger. They treated us like children, added Jinwoo. Did you hear them laughing? Minji looked worried. It's worse than that. I was watching their interactions. They don't see this as a diplomatic mission at all. They're already planning how to divide up our solar system. Subin looked up from his station, alarmed. They want to take over Earth? Not exactly, said Jiwoo. They want to make us a protectorate, which means we'd have no real power or say in Alliance matters. They'd control our resources and development, all while claiming they're helping us. What do we do, Captain? Asked Subin. Jiwoo looked at his crew, then out at the massive space station through the viewport. We expected this might happen. That's why we have our sealed orders. He walked to his private quarters and returned with a small box. Using his thumbprint and a retinal scan, he opened it to reveal a data chip. He inserted it into the ship's computer. The crew of the morning comm gathered in the ship's secure meeting room. The walls were specially designed to block any scanning or listening devices the Alliance might be using. Captain Ji-Woo Kim looked at each of his officers in turn, seeing determination on their faces. "The Alliance thinks we're just children playing at diplomacy," he said, "but Earth has been preparing for this possibility for years." He activated the ship's quantum communication array. Unlike regular communications, which used light signals that could be intercepted, quantum messages were instant and impossible to detect or decode. It was technology that Earth had kept secret, knowing it might someday be needed. "Sending confirmation code now," said Lieutenant Jin-Woo Choi, his fingers moving quickly over the control panel. "Message sent. Protocol Scorched Earth authorized." "How long until they respond?" asked Commander Daehyun Park. "The message is instant," said Jin-Woo. "But Earth Command will need time to prepare their response." "The Admiral's message mentioned 18 hours. Ji-Woo nodded. "Then we have 18 hours to gather as much intelligence as possible. Minji, I want you to attend any cultural events they offer. Learn everything you can about their society and weaknesses." Dr. Minji Yoon nodded. "I'll try to get them talking. They seem to enjoy showing off their superiority. Jinwoo, see if you can access their computer systems. Don't take risks, but if you see an opportunity, we need to know their defensive capabilities." "Yes, Captain," said Jinwoo. "Their systems are advanced, but they might not expect us to try anything. That overconfidence could work in our favor. Daehyun, check our ship's systems. Make sure our shields are at full strength just in case. And prepare evacuation plans if things go wrong." Daehyun's expression was grim. "I thought diplomacy was the right approach, but after seeing how they treated us, I understand why we need Plan B." "What about me, Captain?" asked Ensign Subin Kang, the youngest crew member. "Calculate jump coordinates for a quick escape," said Ji-Woo. "Multiple options, in case they try to block our first choice." "Do you really think they might attack us?" Subin looked worried. Ji-Woo put a hand on the young officer's shoulder. "I hope not, but we need to be ready for anything." After the meeting, the crew went to work on their assignments. Ji-Woo stayed on the bridge thinking about what lay ahead. He hadn't wanted it to come to this. He truly believed in diplomacy and finding peaceful solutions. But the Alliance had made it clear they didn't see humans as equals. They saw Earth as a resource to be exploited, humans as primitives to be controlled. A message came in from the station. Ambassador Velix invited the human delegation to a cultural exchange event that evening. Perfect. It would give them all a chance to gather more information. Minji spent hours preparing for the event, studying the information they had on Alliance customs. When evening came, she wore her formal uniform with Earth's insignia prominently displayed. The cultural exchange was held in a large hall on the station. Different food and drink from various Alliance worlds were displayed on tables. Music that sounded strange to human ears played softly in the background. Aliens of all 7 species mingled, talking and watching the humans with curious or amused expressions. Minji approached a group of Tolari, including Ambassador Velix. They were drinking something that glowed blue from crystal glasses. "Dr. Yoon," said Velix, not bothering to introduce his companions. "I hope you find our gathering educational." "It's fascinating," said Minji with a polite smile. "Your alliance has achieved so much." "Indeed," said one of the other Tolari. "Our combined knowledge spans hundreds of thousands of years." Minji nodded. "Earth's recorded history is much shorter, but we've learned many lessons in that time." "Such as?" asked Velix, clearly not expecting much. "Such as the danger of underestimating others," said Minji casually. "Throughout our history, powerful groups have often misjudged those they considered primitive or weak." The Tolari exchanged glances. "An interesting observation," said Velix, "but hardly relevant to our situation. The Alliance's assessment of other species is based on thorough scientific analysis." "Of course," said Minji. "Still, humans have always been quick learners, sometimes surprisingly so." She moved on to speak with members of other species, dropping similar hints while gathering information. Most of the aliens dismissed her comments as primitive bravado, just as she expected. Meanwhile, back on the morning comm, Jinwoo was working on accessing the station's systems. He had noticed something interesting during their tour. The Alliance used standardized computer terminals throughout the station, regardless of which species had designed them. This suggested a common programming language. Come on, he muttered to himself as his fingers flew over his console. Show me your secrets. After hours of careful probing, he found a way in through a maintenance subroutine. The Alliance's security was excellent, but they hadn't expected a primitive human to attempt hacking. Their overconfidence created blind spots. I'm in, he said quietly, though no one else was in the room. Now let's see what we can learn. Jinwoo carefully created a backdoor access that would let him return to the system later. Then he began copying data on the station's layout, defense systems, and communication networks. This would be crucial when Earth's response arrived. On another part of the ship, Daehyun was inspecting their shields and weapons systems. The Morning Comm was officially a diplomatic vessel, but it had been built with hidden capabilities that the Alliance scanners hadn't detected. Shield generators operating at 98% efficiency, he said to himself, checking the readings. That should be enough if we need to make a quick exit. He moved to the evacuation protocols, making sure every crew member knew exactly what to do if things went wrong. He had been a strong advocate for peaceful negotiation before their arrival, but seeing how the Alliance planned to treat Earth had changed his mind. Sometimes strength was necessary to gain respect. In the navigation room, Subin worked on calculating jump coordinates. His young face was serious as he ran simulation after simulation. If they blocked the main routes, he murmured, we could use the gravity well of the second sun to slingshot away, then jump from there. The crew worked through the night, each preparing in their own way for what was coming. When morning arrived, they gathered again in the secure meeting room to share what they had learned. The cultural exchange was revealing, said Minji. They truly believe their assessment of humanity is scientific and accurate. Their arrogance blinds them to other possibilities. Jinwoo nodded. I accessed their systems. Their defensive capabilities are impressive, but I've created backdoor access to their communications network. We'll be able to use that when the time comes. The ship is ready, said Daehyun. If things go badly, we can protect ourselves long enough to escape. And I've calculated multiple jump coordinates, added Subin. We have options. Jiwoo looked at his crew with pride. Good work, all of you. We have 3 hours left before Earth's response arrives. Ambassador Velex has requested our presence in the negotiation chamber at that time to review their protectorate. Proposal. Perfect timing, said Daehyun. With a grim smile, Jiwoo's communication device beeped. It was a message from Velex confirming their meeting. The ambassador says the full council won't be present. Apparently our negotiations aren't important enough for their attention. That's actually good for us, said Jinwoo. Fewer eyes watching when it happens. The crew spent the remaining hours making final preparations. They ate a meal together, talking quietly about Earth, about home. None of them knew exactly what was coming, but they all understood that today would change the relationship between humanity and the Andromeda Alliance forever. When it was time, Captain Jiwoo put on his formal uniform. He looked at himself in the mirror, straightening his collar. The uniform was simple compared to the elaborate robes of the Alliance representatives, but it represented Earth with dignity. For humanity, he said softly to his reflection. The 4 officers walked together to the airlock. Before stepping onto the station, Jiwoo turned to his crew. Whatever happens today, I want you all to know that I couldn't ask for a better team. You've served Earth with honor. They nodded, their faces serious but determined. Then they walked onto the station, heads held high. Ambassador Velex was waiting for them in the corridor. Captain Kim, right on time. I hope you've had sufficient opportunity to consider our generous offer. We've considered it carefully, said Jiwoo, his voice neutral. They followed Velex to the negotiation chamber. It was smaller than the council room they'd been in before, with just a table and several chairs. 3 other aliens waited there, the golden-furred one from yesterday plus 2 others they hadn't met. Please sit, said Velex, indicating chairs on one side of the table. The aliens sat opposite them. We've prepared the Protectorate Agreement for your review. Once you take it back to Earth, your leaders can sign it, and the process of bringing your world under Alliance protection can begin. Daehyun's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Minji's face remained carefully neutral. Jinwoo glanced at his watch, a seemingly casual gesture, but actually checking the time until Earth's response. Before we review the agreement, said Jiwoo calmly, I'd like to clarify a few points. Of course, said Velex indulgently. though I assure you the terms are quite standard. The crew of the Morning Calm watched in stunned silence as the massive object emerged fully from the space-time rupture. It was a ship, but unlike anything the Alliance had ever seen from humans before. Where the Morning Calm was sleek and white, this new vessel was angular and dark, with sharp edges that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It was enormous, at least 20 times the size of their diplomatic vessel. Its hull was made of layered graphene titanium alloy, a material that made it nearly invisible to standard scanners. "The Baekdu," whispered Jiwoo, almost reverently. "Earth's first true warship," added Daehyun, his eyes wide with pride. Lieutenant Jinwoo's console beeped urgently. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Baekdu and the Alliance station is hailing us. They've detected the arrival. Put the Baekdu through first," ordered Jiwoo. The screen changed to show a stern-faced woman with steel-gray hair pulled back tightly from her face. She wore a black uniform with gold insignia on the collar. "Captain Kim," she said, her voice crisp and authoritative. "Admiral Hyejin Ryu, commanding the EDF Baekdu. We received your authorization for Protocol Scorched Earth. The Defense Council has approved full implementation. Are you and your crew secure?" Jiwoo straightened to attention. "Yes, Admiral. We're aboard the Morning Calm with all systems operational." "Good. Stand by for further instructions." "Rue out." The screen went dark, then immediately lit up again with Ambassador Velix's face. The Talari's 4 eyes were blinking rapidly, and what they had learned was a sign of agitation. "Captain Kim." Velix's voice was higher than usual. "Explain immediately. An unidentified vessel has appeared near our station using unknown technology. Is this an Earth ship?" Jiwoo kept his face carefully neutral. "Yes, Ambassador. That is an Earth Defense Force vessel." "Impossible!" sputtered Velix. "Your species doesn't possess such technology." "The size of that ship alone—" "I tried to explain earlier," said Jiwoo calmly. "Humans advance differently than other species you've encountered. We adapt quickly." Velix's mouth slit opened and closed several times before he found words again. "Your presence was supposed to be diplomatic. This is a violation of—" "We came in peace," interrupted Jiwoo. "We requested equal membership in the Alliance. You laughed and offered us colonization instead. Did you think we would simply accept that?" Before Velix could respond, Jinwoo spoke up. "Captain, the Baekdu is requesting that we initiate the data transfer." Jiwoo nodded. "Do it." Jinwoo's fingers flew over his console, activating the backdoor access he had created in the station's systems. "Transfer commencing." On the screen, Velix's expression changed from anger to confusion, then to alarm as alerts began sounding behind him. "What are you doing?" "Our systems," the screen split, showing both Velix and Admiral Ryu. The Admiral's face was impassive as she watched the data flowing into her ship's computers. "Impressive work, Lieutenant Choi," she said. "We now have complete schematics of the station's defense systems." Velix's eyes widened in shock. "You've hacked our network. This is an act of war." "No, Ambassador," said Jiwoo firmly. "This is negotiation from a position of strength, something you understand well." Another alarm sounded on the station. Velix looked at something off-screen, his blue skin paling to an almost white shade. "Your ship is targeting our vessels," he said, his voice suddenly quiet. "How is this possible?" "Our scans showed no weapons on your diplomatic vessel. The Morning Calm is unarmed," confirmed Jiwoo. "But the Baekdu has advanced targeting systems, and now, thanks to Lieutenant Choi's work, those systems are locked onto every Alliance vessel in the vicinity." Admiral Ryu nodded approvingly. The Alliance ships are outgunned and outmatched. Their defense capabilities are now an open book to us. Velix seemed to struggle for words. This violates all diplomatic protocols." "You never established diplomatic protocols with us," said Minji, stepping forward to stand beside Jiwoo. "You established terms of surrender, which we reject." Jiwoo looked directly at Velix. "I request an immediate meeting with the full Alliance Council. Admiral Ryu will join us via holographic projection. This time, we will be discussing terms for equal membership, not protectorate status." Velix stared at him for a long moment, then nodded stiffly. "I will," informed the Council. The screen went dark. The crew of the Morning Calm looked at each other, tension and excitement visible on their faces. "Do you think they'll agree to meet?" asked Subin. "They don't have much choice," said Daehyun grimly. They've just discovered that the primitive humans have technology equal to or beyond their own. Admiral Ryu's face reappeared on the screen. Captain Kim, well done. Your crew has performed admirably. The element of surprise was complete. Thank you, Admiral, said Jiwoo. But we haven't succeeded yet. The Alliance Council needs to agree to our terms. They will, said Ryu confidently. The Baekdu carries enough firepower to destroy that station and every Alliance vessel here. They know that now. But destruction isn't our goal. No, agreed Jiwoo. Our goal is respect. Equal membership. Exactly, said Ryu. Be ready to depart for the meeting as soon as they respond. I'll prepare the holographic projection system. 20 minutes later, Velix sent a message. The Alliance Council would meet with the Earth delegation immediately. This time, the meeting would be in the Grand Ceremonial Chamber, not the small negotiation room. A significant upgrade, noted Minji as they prepared to leave the ship. Suddenly we're important enough for their best meeting space. Amazing how a warship can change perspectives, said Daehyun with a slight smile. Jiwoo looked at his team. Remember, we're still diplomats. The Baekdu gives us leverage, but our goal remains peaceful relations. We want the Alliance as friends, not enemies. They nodded in understanding. Then, with heads held high, they walked onto the station. This time, their reception was very different. Alliance security personnel lined the corridors, standing stiffly at attention as the humans passed. Other aliens moved out of their way quickly, staring with a mixture of fear and curiosity. The ceremonial chamber was enormous, with a high domed ceiling covered in shimmering patterns that looked like stars. In the center was a large round table with the 7 council members already seated. Unlike their previous meeting, chairs had been provided for the humans. As they entered, Admiral Ryu's hologram appeared beside them, projected from the Baekdu. She stood tall and commanding, her uniform crisp, her expression stern. The council members stared at her hologram, clearly disturbed by the technology. Earth wasn't supposed to have such advanced holographic projection capabilities. Velix rose from his seat. His voice was formal and stiff. The Alliance Council recognizes the delegation from Earth and Admiral Ryu of the Earth Defense Force. Thank you for meeting with us, said Jiwoo politely as they took their seats. The golden-furred alien leaned forward. This display of military force is highly unusual during diplomatic negotiations. So is demanding 60% of a planet's resources and restricting their development for 3 centuries, replied Admiral Ryu coolly. The council members shifted uncomfortably. Velix cleared his throat. Perhaps we should reconsider the terms of our relationship with Earth. Perhaps you should, agreed Jiwoo. He nodded to Daehyun, who activated a small device that projected a holographic document above the table. These are our terms, said Jiwoo. Equal membership in the Andromeda Alliance, mutual defense agreements, fair trade policies based on equal exchange, not exploitation, technology sharing in both directions. The green-scaled alien made a dismissive sound. What technology could Earth possibly offer the Alliance? Admiral Ryu smiled thinly. The Baekdu uses a quantum rupture drive for FTL travel, technology your scientists haven't yet mastered. Our graphene titanium alloy hull is undetectable by your scanners, and as you've seen, we can bypass your network security with ease. The council members exchanged worried glances. These are unexpected developments, said Velix carefully. Earth has been preparing for first contact for decades, explained Jiwoo. We hoped for friendship and cooperation, but we prepared for other possibilities as well. By hiding your true capabilities? Asked the golden-furred alien accusingly. By revealing them when necessary, corrected Minji. Just as you hid your true intentions behind offers of protection. The chamber fell silent as the council considered this. Finally, a counselor they hadn't met before, a small purple-skinned alien with large luminous eyes, spoke up. I am Counselor Triz of the Navari. I find the humans refreshing. They saw through our standard colonization approach and came prepared. This shows intelligence and foresight, qualities the Alliance claims to value. Velix looked at Triz with obvious annoyance. The human response is aggressive and threatening. They brought a warship to diplomatic talks, after you laughed at their request for equal membership, pointed out Triz. After you demanded 60% of their resources and 3 centuries of restricted development. How would the Talari have responded to such demands when your species first reached the stars? Velix had no answer to that. Admiral Ryu's hologram moved forward slightly. The Bekdu's presence is not a threat, unless you make it one. It is a statement that Earth will not be colonized or exploited. We come as equals or not at all. And if we refuse your terms? Asked the green-scaled alien. 3 days had passed since the dramatic confrontation between Earth and the Andromeda Alliance. The morning comm remained docked at the Alliance station, while Captain Ji-Woo Kim and his crew finalized the details of Earth's membership. The massive warship Bekdu hovered nearby, a constant reminder of humanity's unexpected strength. In the station's main conference room, Ji-Woo sat with Dr. Min Ji-yoon and Commander Dae-hyun Park, reviewing the trade agreements that would form part of Earth's relationship with the Alliance. These terms are much more favorable than their original offer, said Minji, scrolling through the document on her tablet. Amazing what a show of force can accomplish, remarked Dae-hyun with a slight smile. Ji-Woo nodded, but his expression remained serious. Force opened the door, but it's diplomacy that will keep it open. We need these agreements to work for both sides. Ambassador Velix entered the room, followed by 2 other aliens, the purple-skinned Counselor Triz and a tall, crystalline being that seemed to shimmer as it moved. Captain Kim, said Velix with a formal bow. May I present Director Xylith of the Alliance Science Directorate? The director has a proposal regarding technology exchange. The crystalline alien inclined its upper portion in what might have been a nod. When it spoke, its voice had an unusual musical quality. Captain, your quantum rupture drive is of great interest to our scientists. We would like to propose a joint research initiative. Ji-Woo glanced at Minji, who nodded subtly. This was a positive development, the Alliance wanting to work with humans rather than simply take from them. We'd be interested in such an initiative, said Ji-Woo carefully, though our government would need to approve the details. Of course, said Director Xylith. We also have technologies that might interest Earth. Our bioregeneration systems, for example, could significantly advance your medical capabilities. A fair exchange, agreed Ji-Woo. I'll forward your proposal to Earth Defense Command. Counselor Triz stepped forward. There is another matter, Captain. Several Alliance species are requesting permission to send cultural delegations to Earth. They are curious about humans now, Minji smiled. I'm sure Earth would welcome cultural exchanges. It's an excellent way to build understanding between our peoples. The meeting continued, with discussions about trade routes, resource sharing, and diplomatic protocols. The tone was respectful, sometimes even friendly, a stark contrast to their first encounter with the Alliance. When the aliens had left, Dae-hyun leaned back in his chair. They're falling over themselves to be helpful now. 3 days ago they were laughing at us. Fear and respect are different things, said Ji-Woo. They feared the Bekdu, but we need them to respect humanity. That will take time. At least they're making an effort, said Minji. Director Xylith seemed genuinely interested in scientific collaboration. Ji-Woo nodded. Progress. But we still have work to do. Their conversation was interrupted by a call from Lieutenant Jin-Woo Choi aboard the morning comm. Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Admiral Ryu. She's requesting your immediate return to the ship. On our way, said Ji-Woo, standing quickly. When they returned to the morning comm, they found Jin-Woo and Ensign Subin Kang waiting anxiously on the bridge. Admiral Ryu's hologram stood nearby, her face grim. What's happened, Admiral? Asked Ji-Woo, immediately sensing that something was wrong. We've received intelligence from our deep space monitoring stations, said Ryu. An unidentified fleet is approaching Alliance space. To 12 hours, a fleet? Repeated Dae-hyun. Whose? Unknown, said Ryu. But they're not responding to Alliance hails and their configuration doesn't match any known Alliance species. Ji-Woo frowned. Have you informed the Alliance Council? Not yet, said Ryu. I wanted to consult with you first. This situation presents both a risk and an opportunity. Minji understood immediately. An opportunity to demonstrate that Earth is a valuable ally, not just a potential threat. Ryu nodded. Exactly. How we handle this could define our relationship with the Alliance for generations. We should inform the Council, decided Ji-Woo. Offer our assistance. Show them that humans stand by their allies. I agree, said Ryu. The Bekdu is at your disposal. Captain Kim, Earth Defense Command has authorized you to act as our representative in this matter. The responsibility was enormous, but Jiwoo didn't hesitate. "Thank you, Admiral. We'll do our best." After the Admiral's hologram disappeared, Jiwoo turned to his crew. "Jinwoo, request an emergency meeting with the Alliance Council. Daehyun, coordinate with the Baekdu's tactical officers. Minji, I want everything we have on Alliance military protocols. Subin, prepare the ship for possible emergency departure." The crew sprang into action, each focused on their assigned tasks. Within an hour, Jiwoo stood before the full Alliance Council, Admiral Ryu's hologram beside him. "An unknown fleet approaches Alliance space," said Jiwoo, getting straight to the point. "They're not responding to communications and will arrive within 11 hours. The council erupted in alarmed conversations. Velix raised his hands for silence. "How do you know this, Captain Kim? Our long-range sensors have detected nothing," Admiral Ryu answered. "Earth maintains deep space monitoring stations beyond your sensor range. We've been tracking this fleet for several days, but only recently determined their course would bring them here." The golden-furred counselor looked suspicious. "Why would humans place monitoring stations in this sector of space? You only recently joined the interstellar community." "The same reason we built the Baekdu," said Jiwoo calmly. "Preparation. Earth doesn't leave its security to chance." Before the counselor could respond, Velix intervened. "What do you propose, Captain?" "A joint response," said Jiwoo. "The Baekdu will join your defense fleet. We'll attempt peaceful contact first, but be ready if the unknown vessels prove hostile." Counselor Triz nodded approvingly. "A reasonable approach. What do you need from us?" "Full access to your defense network," said Admiral Shu, "and a command position within your fleet structure for Captain Kim. His experience with unexpected confrontations could prove valuable." The council members exchanged glances, clearly uncomfortable with giving a human such authority, but the approaching unknown fleet presented a greater concern. "Agreed," said Velix finally. "Captain Kim will serve as tactical advisor to Fleet Commander Zol. The defense fleet will depart in 2 hours." After the meeting, the crew returned to the morning comm to prepare. Subin looked nervous as he checked the navigation systems. "Do you think they'll be hostile, Captain?" he asked. "I hope not," said Jiwoo. "But we need to be ready either way." Daehyun approached, his face serious. "The Baekdu's captain has invited us aboard. They'll handle the defense coordination better than our diplomatic vessel." Jiwoo nodded. "Gather what we need. We leave in 30 minutes. They boarded the Baekdu via a small shuttle. The warship's interior was as impressive as its exterior, sleek, efficient, and clearly designed for combat. The bridge was 3 times the size of the morning comms, with advanced tactical displays and a crew of 30. The Baekdu's captain, a stern woman named Captain Seohyun Bae, greeted them. "Welcome aboard, Captain Kim. Admiral Ryu speaks highly of your diplomatic skills. We may need them today." "Let's hope so," said Jiwoo. "I prefer words to weapons when possible." The Alliance defense fleet consisted of 12 vessels of varying sizes. They were elegant ships, clearly built for speed and maneuverability rather than raw power. The Baekdu, with its angular armored design, looked almost primitive in comparison, until one noticed the advanced weapon systems integrated into its hull. Fleet Commander Zol, a tall insect-like alien with compound eyes and a metallic exoskeleton, established a communication link with all vessels. "The unknown fleet will reach the outer marker in 8 hours. We will intercept them there and attempt communication. If they prove hostile, we will defend Alliance space." The journey to the outer marker was tense. Jiwoo and his crew used the time to study Alliance combat tactics and communication protocols. Minji worked with the Alliance cultural specialists, preparing first contact messages in various formats. Daehyun reviewed the defensive capabilities of the Alliance vessels, identifying strengths and weaknesses. "Their ships are fast," he told Jiwoo during a quiet moment. "Advanced shield technology, excellent sensors. But their weapon systems lack raw power. They're designed for precision, not destruction." "Peacetime ships," said Jiwoo thoughtfully. "The Alliance hasn't faced a serious threat in generations." As they neared the outer marker, long-range sensors detected the approaching fleet. 27 vessels in a tight formation, moving at high speed. "Still no response to hails," reported Jinwoo, who had been working with the communications team. The main screen showed the approaching ships. They were unlike anything they had seen before, organic-looking vessels with curves and protrusions that seemed almost random. "Magnify," ordered Fleet Commander Zol. The image zoomed in, revealing disturbing details. The ship's surfaces appeared to be constantly shifting like living skin. Where Alliance and Earth vessels had clear windows or viewports, these had only dark pit-like recesses. Biomechanical, said Minji, leaning forward to study the image. These ships might be partially alive. Life signs? Asked Captain Seo-hyun. Inconclusive, replied a sensor officer. Our scanners can't penetrate their outer hull. 1 month had passed since Earth joined the Andromeda Alliance. The morning calm was finally heading home, carrying the ratified treaties that formally established humanity's place among the stars. Captain Ji-woo Kim stood on the bridge watching as the Alliance station grew smaller on the view screen. Course set for Earth, Captain, said Ensign Subin Kang from the navigation console. The Baekdu will escort us to the jump point. Thank you, Ensign, said Ji-woo. Take us out nice and slow. The diplomatic vessel moved smoothly away from the docking bay, its engines humming quietly. Through the viewport, they could see the massive form of the Baekdu keeping pace with them, its dark hull reflecting little light. Commander Daehyun Park joined Ji-woo at the viewport. Hard to believe it's only been a month. Feels like we've been here for years. A lot has happened, agreed Ji-woo. More than anyone expected when we set out from Earth. The past weeks had been filled with diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges, and technology discussions. After the incident with the unknown biomechanical ships, which had been named the Vex by Alliance scientists, relations between Earth and the Alliance had warmed considerably. Dr. Minji Yoon entered the bridge, carrying a tablet filled with data. The final cultural exchange protocols are complete. 7 Alliance species will send delegations to Earth within the next 6 months, and Earth will send representatives to each of their homeworlds, added Ji-woo. A fair exchange, Lieutenant. Jinwoo Choi looked up from his communication station. Captain Admiral Ryu is hailing us from the Baekdu. Put her through, said Ji-woo. Admiral Hyejin Ryu's face appeared on the main screen. Her expression was serious, as always, but there was a hint of satisfaction in her eyes. Captain Kim, your mission has exceeded all expectations, she said. Earth Defense Command is very pleased with the outcome. Thank you. Admiral, said Ji-woo. It was a team effort. Indeed, said Ryu. And there will be recognition for each member of your crew when you return. But our work is just beginning. The treaties you're bringing home will reshape humanity's future. And the alliances, added Minji. They've already begun incorporating some of our technologies into their systems, Admiral Ryu nodded. The quantum communication array has particularly impressed them. Their scientists have been studying it non-stop. They've shared valuable technologies as well, said Daehyun. Their shield harmonics alone will advance our defensive capabilities by decades. A productive partnership, agreed Ryu. One that became possible only after they learned to respect us. She paused. The Baekdu will escort you to the jump point. From there, you'll proceed to Earth while we remain on patrol near Alliance space. The Vex may return and we want to be ready. Do you think they pose a serious threat? Asked Ji-woo. Intelligence suggests they were scouts testing our defenses, said Ryu. If they return in force, the Alliance will need Earth's help. Their ships are vulnerable to the Vex weapons, and will need their knowledge of this region of space, said Ji-woo. Neither of us can stand alone against an unknown threat. Precisely why this alliance matters, said Ryu. Safe journey, Captain. We'll speak again when you reach Earth. Ryu out. As the Admiral's image disappeared, Ji-woo turned to his crew. We'll reach the jump point in 2 hours. After that, it's a straight shot home. I can't wait to see Earth again, said Subin with a smile. My family won't believe everything that's happened. They might, said Jinwoo. The news broadcasts have been covering our mission extensively. We're famous back home, Daehyun laughed. Fame wasn't part of the mission parameters. Neither was facing down the entire Alliance Council with a warship, pointed out Minji, or defending Alliance vessels against alien attackers. We've gone well beyond our original orders. That's diplomacy for you, said Ji-woo with a slight smile. Always unpredictable. As they approached the jump point, a final message came in from the Alliance station. It was Ambassador Velix, his blue skin shimmering under the station lights. Captain Kim, he said, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The Alliance Council wishes to extend a final word of appreciation for your efforts. When you first arrived, we Misjudged your species. A natural mistake, Ambassador, said Jiwoo diplomatically. First contacts are always challenging. Perhaps, said Velix, but few species respond as effectively to such challenges as humans have. Your combination of strength and restraint is unusual in our experience. We try to find the balance, said Jiwoo. Force when necessary, diplomacy when possible. A wise approach, acknowledged Velix. We look forward to the arrival of Earth's permanent diplomatic mission. Safe journey, Captain Kim. After the communication ended, the morning calm continued toward the jump point, the Baekdu a constant presence beside them. As they neared the coordinates, Subin began the final calculations for the jump to Earth. Jump coordinates locked in, Captain, he reported. We're ready when you are. Jiwoo nodded. Excellent work, Ensign. Prepare for— Captain, interrupted Jinwoo urgently. Multiple energy signatures detected. Emerging from subspace directly ahead. On screen, ordered Jiwoo, immediately alert. The view screen showed space rippling and tearing as 5 vessels appeared directly in their path. They were instantly recognizable, the organic-looking ships of the Vex. Red alert, said Jiwoo calmly. Shields up. Jinwoo informed the Baekdu. They're already moving to intercept, reported Daehyun, watching the tactical display as the massive warship accelerated past them, placing itself between the morning calm and the Vex vessels. We're receiving a transmission from the lead Vex ship, said Jinwoo, surprise evident in his voice. Put it through, ordered Jiwoo. Unlike their previous text-based communication, this time an actual image appeared on screen. What they saw was disturbing. A being that seemed to be part organic, part mechanical. Its face, if it could be called that, was a shifting mass of metallic components and what looked like living tissue. Multiple lens-like structures served as eyes, focusing and refocusing constantly. Humans, came a synthetic voice. We have observed. We have decided. Jiwoo straightened his uniform and stepped forward. I am Captain Jiwoo Kim of Earth. What have you decided? Your species is different. You defend others. You resist our weapons. You are interesting. Admiral Ryu's face appeared on a secondary screen. Captain Kim, the Baekdu is in position. Weapons are locked on the Vex vessels. Jiwoo acknowledged her with a nod, then returned his attention to the Vex. We seek peaceful relations with all species, but we will defend ourselves and our allies if threatened. The Vex being's components shifted and rearranged. No threat, not now. We came to study, to understand. You attacked Alliance. Ships, pointed out Daehyun. Test, not. Attack Alliance ships weak. Expected all ships weak. Found humans not. Weak, surprising. Minji moved to stand beside Jiwoo. The Vex may not understand the concept of aggression the same way we do. They might see their actions as simple information gathering. Jiwoo considered this. We are willing to communicate and learn about your species, but aggressive testing is not acceptable. There are peaceful ways to exchange information. The Vex being was silent for a moment, its components continuing to shift and reconfigure. Peaceful exchange, new concept, interesting, we will try. Admiral Ryu looked skeptical. Captain, we should be cautious. This could be a deception. Agreed, Admiral, said Jiwoo quietly, then to the Vex. As a first step toward peaceful exchange, please move your vessels away from our jump point. We are returning to our homeworld. Accepted. The Vex ships immediately began to move, clearing the path to the jump point. Well, that was easy, murmured Daehyun, sounding surprised. Too easy? Wondered Jinwoo. The Vex being continued. We will send one ship to follow, to observe, to learn peaceful exchange. Jiwoo exchanged glances with Admiral Ryu on the second screen. She shook her head slightly concerned. That won't be possible at this time, said Jiwoo firmly. We're not prepared to bring an unknown species to Earth. Perhaps in the future after we've established proper diplomatic protocols. The Vex seemed to consider this. Logical. Humans cautious like Vex, we will wait. We'll communicate with Alliance instead. I'll alert the Alliance Council immediately, said Minji quietly. Farewell. Humans, we will meet again. The transmission ended and the Vex vessels moved away, all except one which remained at a distance. Clearly observing them, Admiral Ryu's expression was grim. I don't trust them, Captain. Their behavior is too erratic. I agree we should be cautious, said Jiwoo. But this could be a genuine attempt at communication. We should inform the Alliance Council about this encounter and let them prepare. The Bekdu will remain here and monitor the situation, said Ryu. You continue to Earth with the treaties. That's your priority mission. Understood, Admiral, said Jiwoo. He turned to his crew. Prepare for jump. As the morning calm prepared to leave, the crew watched the Vex ships with a mixture of curiosity and unease. Do you think they're really interested in peaceful exchange? Asked Subin. It's possible, said Minji. Different species have different approaches to first contact. The Vex clearly operate on principles we don't fully understand yet. Whatever their intentions, said Jiwoo, they've just made the alliance between Earth and the Andromeda Council even more important. Neither of us can afford to stand alone against a potential threat like the Vex.